football dynasty.
Yeah,
we
will do that. Oh, we're all in on it.
Right.
Dumas, I think, is in on it too. By the way, you got Dumas coming up in just a second.
I
real
suck.
quick.
I'm
I also
terrible.
I'm the head coach of Cal. We got half-empty stadiums. I can't get a recruit to save my life. I'm getting all these 2-star recruits. Willard the Dibs from 6 to 10. Morning roast from 10 to 2. Stein and Good from 2 to 6. All presented by our great friends at Jack's Restaurant and Bar. And listen, this is why I say the San Francisco Giants need to get a star. Your window to grab the Bay Area fandom, it's gone now. We went straight from Warriors to Team USA to soccer to training camp. The Giants, you better get your game right.
I'm going straight to college football if you can't get it together. I'm not joking.
We're done with
There's
the Giants.
a running back. I'm saying right now, Notre Dame, if you want a cheat code team, they've got a quarterback that runs, all right,
Yeah.
Riley, and then they've got this running back, number 4, who is fast as heck. They got a slot receiver who's fast, and their D-line is loaded. Notre Dame, look out.
Oh,
Are
man.
you ready? Fighting Irish? Touchdown, Jesus?
Of course you're a Notre Dame fan.
Of course I am. I'm Irish Captain from San Francisco. I'm a Joe Montana fan for crying out loud.
Joe Montana
Rick Meyer,
crying out loud.
Jerome Bettis,
They got rid of
Tim
Ty
Brown.
Willingham. No. Notre Dame lost me,
Lou
Dumas. Notre Dame lost me
Bryant
when they
Young.
fired the brother, Tyrone Willingham.
Yeah, they
and
did
then
him
Charlie
dirty.
Weiss
I
came
agree.
in
I
and won
agree.
with his players, and they gave Charlie Weiss all the
I'm a
credit. And then he got
Tyrone
fired
Willingham
3 years later.
I'm a Tyrone
Get
Willingham
Notre Dame.
fan.
Screw them.
Well, I hate
They've
Brady
been cheating
Quinn.
for all these years. They started crying when Miami started kicking their ass, when all they was doing was beating Army 70-0, running up the score left and right. And all of a sudden, Miami ran up the score on them. Wait. Anyway, Dumas. What's up, Dumas?
What's up, Jason?
Dumas joins us on the River Islands guest line with Jason. What's happening?
What's up, fellas? Look, you guys aren't on from 6 to 10 this week. I know you're happy to get the extra Z's.
Oh, my gosh. Dumas, I'm up till midnight. I wake up at 7 o'clock, and I feel like $1 million.
Hey, Dumas, did you get the new NCAA game? There's an invisible player in the game.
No, I was talking to Bonte about this yesterday, man. I haven't played video games since I was in college. I graduated college in 2011, but this game,
your baby,
seeing the trailer has made me want to come out of retirement, but I'm like intimidated because it feels like I'd be lost.
No, well, there's an invisible player. He plays for Notre Dame. His name's Manti Te'o.
Oh, wow. That's so bad.
He also had an invisible
You didn't see that coming?
No, I saw it coming. I was trying to move off of it so you didn't go that route. By the way, he's coming out with a documentary, another one. We don't need to know that you got hoaxed with a fake girlfriend, dude.
I think he was also kind of like, it was weird.
Dude, I don't even want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that. But no, Dumas, I was telling Dumas, I didn't get back into video games until the pandemic. Because when I went to college, I had to give up a couple things, and I gave up video games, and the pandemic brought me back. But anyway, what's going to bring Brandon Aiyuk back? $28 million a year? $30 million a year? What's the latest from Brandon Aiyuk, Dumas?
His money. That's what's going to bring him back. Look, I'm not the cap expert. I'm not the guy who can tell you the exact amount of dollars he wants. I'll let some of the other reporters do that who crunch the numbers. I'll just tell you that he's adamant about getting what he feels like he is worth, and he views himself as one of the best wide receivers in football. So obviously you can do the math. You see what most of these wide receivers make, and he's very prideful. He comes from a very prideful family. They work really hard, and he wants to be rewarded for his work. And he's not loyal to the 49ers. Like, he's not like, I will play for you under any circumstance, pay me what you want, rah, rah, rah team. He's like, no, I want my money. You guys have paid other people, pay me my money, or I will play somewhere else for my money. Like, you know, that's just that's the thing that I think some fans just need to understand. Some players are a little more, hey, I will take the discount, I will do this for the greater cause. And some people aren't. You can judge them for that as you see fit, but you just got to understand, not everybody is going to take a pay cut to win a championship, so to speak. Yeah,
but nobody's asking him to take like $20 million less. I mean, we're talking relative money, and I understand you got to get every nickel. But has he watched? Like, does he have eyeballs? Has he watched the receiver doc? Devontae looks like he's in, career suicide hell. And I shouldn't be joking about this, but he looks like he's in purgatory with Jimmy Garoppolo. He wanted to quit football after 3 games. Is that what Brandon Aiyuk wants? You want I got to get every nickel so I can go play with,
well, you
garbage
forget that
quarterback
again,
X.
He played with Derek Carr and had 1,500 yards, and they got rid of Derek Carr because the head coach is a bozo. Go ahead, Dumas.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's in an amazing situation football-wise, but, I mean, this is just speculation. This isn't anything that I'm reporting. Jackie, some people don't care. Like, some people, they just want to play football and make a lot of money. Like, you know, Devontae Adams might be a little wired different than Brandon Aiyuk. I mean, we see it in every sport. Not everybody really cares about winning. For some of these people, it literally is just a job. They do it because they're good at it.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. Jason Dumas here on, I guess, the Morning Roast, Starting Guru, whatever you want to call it, Brunch with Butcher and Bonte. He joins us here on the River Islands guest line. So what happens? Because to me, this may just be a negotiation ploy, his last negotiation ploy. We know that he's probably not going to come to training camp without a new deal. But do you really see Brandon Aiyuk playing in a different uniform this season when the NFL kicks off in September?
No, I don't. I don't think the 49ers are going to grant his wish. And like you just said, this trade request, which is legit and has happened officially, it could be a little disingenuous from their side. Deep down, Brandon Aiyuk might want to stay with the 49ers. In an ideal world, he stays with the 49ers, he gets his money, and they go on to do great things together. But, you know, he wants to get his money. He wants to feel valued. Now, as far as the 49ers, I mean, they're going to do what's right for the organization. And right now, unless some trade that we don't see coming comes along, it's not in their best interest to trade him right now. Maybe they take it to September, and it might be an ugly stalemate. And then maybe they kick the can on that and say, well, look, this situation is getting volatile and toxic, and it's just not beneficial for our team chemistry. And that's something that could happen because I don't see Brandon Aiyuk showing up to training camp. I think most of us would have guessed that even before this trade demand came down. It's just a matter of if someone's going to blink first, is someone going to, you know, I guess swallow their pride. And, you know, I don't know Brandon Aiyuk that well or more than just covering him and being in that locker room. But he seems like a guy who is very content in what he does. Like, he just seems extremely content. You see it on his social media. You see kind of some of the jabs. And I don't see this ending well from just like a chemistry standpoint. Like, if the 49ers tell him, look, we're not paying you right now, we're not negotiating, you're going to have to play out on this, I think, a $14 million deal on the last deal of your contract.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got to wonder how that affects Brandon Aiyuk. And we've seen, we've just seen in the history of sports over the years, in every sport, how contract negotiations going back and just kind of ruin a year for a team. I'm not saying that's going to happen for the 49ers, but that's certainly a possibility if people aren't happy. And I think Brandon Aiyuk is extremely valuable to this offense. If you ask me, I think he's the second best player on the offense behind Christian McCaffrey. I think he unlocks a lot of things. I don't think Deebo Samuel is the same type of player that we see get maximized without someone like Brandon Aiyuk helping him open up the field. Like, without Brandon Aiyuk, Deebo kind of has to move into more of a traditional wide receiver role, and I don't think he really excels in that role. I think he excels as somebody who's moved all around the field and can be a hybrid and do a bunch of everything, but he's allowed to do that because you have your traditional wide receiver in Brandon Aiyuk who runs every route and can stretch defense. So I think if Brandon Aiyuk is not happy, it can put this Niners offense in a very compromising spot. So I do think it would be of the benefit for the Niners to kind of solve this. Obviously, once you start holding out games, and if you get that far, then it's going to obviously hurt Brandon Aiyuk's pocket. So I see it as they're just playing cat and mouse right now. Who is going to blink first? Won't be the first, won't be the last time we see this in the NFL. But as it applies to the 49ers, I think it's something that will behoove them to kind of figure out.
You think he's more, you said he's the second most important. I don't want to parse your words because maybe you meant skill position players or whatever. You think he's the second most important Niner on offense? Because I think it's CMC, Purdy, Trent, Kittle, and then I would get to the receivers.
I did forget about Trent Williams. Trent is probably second. Obviously, the position he plays, he's one of the best to ever do it at that position. And we've seen what it looks like when Trent doesn't play. So I would go Christian McCaffrey, Trent, and then Aiyuk. Yeah, I do think Aiyuk is more important than some of the other guys you just mentioned, especially Kittle. I guess the argument can be made.
Purdy too, then, huh? You got him. Not to cut you off, but more important than Purdy, because
I was going to say an argument can be made for a quarterback in any team. Like, I mean, obviously, like, you just go down rosters and you can see rosters in the NFL, and the quarterback might not be their best player, but he's probably the most important just because of what he does. So I kind of didn't count Purdy because that's just by default. You can be the worst starting quarterback in football, and you're probably the most important player on your offense.
Right.
Like, that's just the nature of the sport. So I didn't really consider him. Obviously, the quarterback position is the most important position.
Fair.
You're never going to win if you don't have a successful quarterback. But I just think Brandon Aiyuk unlocks so much for that offense. I do think he's more important than Deebo. I do think he's more important than George Kittle. So let's call it the skills
That's
position.
fine.
Yeah,
No, that's fair.
fair.
So that's fair. So let's boil this down. You don't think this is going to end well, just in general, right? That's just the feeling that you have. How much does Ricky Pearsall factor into this at all in terms of, he's better than what they thought when they drafted him, the fact that they drafted him? Like, does he have any factoring into at any point of this Aiyuk timeline?
Yeah, I mean, look, Ricky Pearsall, if he plays well in training camp, it puts more pressure on Brandon Aiyuk. It's like, look, we got this other guy who's playing really well. Obviously, we want you back, Brandon. We're a better team with you. But if Pearsall comes out to camp and plays well, then that would put more pressure on Brandon Aiyuk. You know what I mean? Like, It was almost like the Warriors, the season when Klay Thompson came back, they were way more patient with Klay Thompson coming back because Jordan Poole was playing so well. They're like, you know what? Take your time. And obviously Klay comes back, they win a championship. But if Ricky Pearsall comes out, he performs, he looks like the guy who they thought he could be when they drafted him a little higher than most people had him projected, then it's just a great problem to have for the 49ers. And for Aiyuk, it puts more pressure on him because, the saying, you never let somebody do your job better than you do it. Now, obviously,
those are facts.
Wally Pipp.
Yeah, those are facts.
Yeah, Ricky Pearsall coming in, he's not going to do that job better than Aiyuk right away. But if he looks like he's projecting to be a really good player and can fill somewhat of that void, look, that wouldn't be good for Brandon Aiyuk in his negotiations.
Yeah, no doubt about that. 30 seconds or less, Dumas, real quick. I do want to get a Warriors take because you're tapped in with them. Would you do a deal for Lowry marketing involving Pods, Kuminga, Moody, and all these picks?
No, absolutely not. Not all three of them. Maybe you can have two of them, but maybe you can't even have two of them. If it's Podziemski and Kuminga, you got to pick between one of those two. You can't have them both.
So if I'm making you pick, making you pick Pods or Kuminga, and I don't like to do that because they're splitting hairs here. I think they're both impactful on this basketball team. But who could they live without the most, Pods or Kuminga, moving forward?
So if they're getting Lowry, I would prioritize Kuminga because I think Kuminga's ability to slash and put pressure on the rim while having a floor spacer like Lowry, I think actually that would be pretty ideal and it could really unlock Kuminga even more. With that being said, I think Pods is a really good player too, and Steve obviously loves him. So, but to get, you got to give. That's just the NBA. Lauri Markkanen is an all-star caliber player. He's made an all-star game. He'll probably make another all-star game. Obviously, to get a player like that, you're going to have to give something up of value, and Pods is a valuable asset. It actually speaks highly on Pods that the Jazz considering bringing him in for a guy like Lauri Markkanen.
Jason Dumas, KRON 4 here on the River Islands guest line on 95.7 The Game. Dumas, thanks so much for the short notice, man. Good stuff as always, man. We always respect your report, man. Wild times in the Bay Area. Good timing. I know you got a big day coming up in just about 6 weeks, brother.
6 weeks, man. Never a dull moment. I'm getting out of the country for a couple of days to celebrate my little bachelor party. So
wait. You're getting married in 6 weeks. All right, let me give you some words from someone who's been married. This will be 14 years in August.
Oh,
boy. I know. It's one day. It's a huge party. You're not even going to remember the majority of the details. Just enjoy it. Don't worry about all the flowers and the this and the that. Roll with the flow. Have fun. Nod your head like a bobblehead to your significant other and her family and your family, and just try to get through it all. And if you can, save a couple of crumbs for an actual home. I don't know what your living situation is, but like if I could, I would have tapered back the wedding just a little and saved some crumbs. That's all. I'm just trying to give you some words of wisdom. And here's the other thing. Eat a good breakfast and hit up every table, right? And let them know that you've been seen, because there's nothing worse than disrespecting a friend, a family friend. They never came to our table and said hi. You know what I'm talking about.
Sounds like Shasky went through that.
Yeah.
Sounds like Shasky didn't say hi to a lot of people.
That is great advice. That is 100% great advice. And I've heard a little bit of it before. Take in the moment.
Exactly.
Enjoy it and be present.
Yep.
And don't rush the kids either. That's another conversation for later down the road.
Well, I'm going to have to hide the Amex card on to stand the crumbs part, because I'm losing that battle.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Let me tell you. Wait till you get to babysitting.
Oh, my God. Don't even do that to him. Don't even do that to him, man. Don't even do that to him. Don't depress him before the big day. I want my son to be the Doogie Howser of kindergarten. They're going to enter him in at 1 year old so I can save some money. Congrats. It's good stuff.
See you, buddy. Congrats.
All right, fellas.
All right, brother. Jason Dumas here to River Islands guest line on 95.7 The Game. By the way, on our screen right now is Colin Cowherd, that clown.
Oh, yeah.
This is why I don't watch him. His top 10